What it do, everybody? My name is Ed Fernandez and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we're taking a step from real roller coasters and we're stepping in to the virtual world of roller coasters. Welcome everybody to Planet Coaster. Planet Coaster is a marvelous video game that really revived the roller coaster and theme park genre of video games. Now, sure, there are other video games like No Limits where they really put emphasis on the word simulation and it offers more immersion. Plus virtual reality. However, Planet Coaster seems to follow the Roller Coaster Tycoon series as it puts the player in charge of managing an entire theme park versus just creating one ride. And this really puts the player in charge of their theme park and can basically build it to their heart's content. I mean, there's limitless imagination. Well, I can't really say that. There is a catch. Throughout my time of playing this game, and I put a lot of time into it, there are some things that I've noticed that Frontier needs to either change, fix, or just improve in general. So here's my video on the top 5 things that I have noticed while playing Planet Coaster that Frontier just simply needs to fix or add into Planet Coaster. Starting off at number 5, add more variety when it comes to coaster elements. Since the launch of this game, there's been similar elements for all these coasters across the board, such as loops, zero-G rolls, banana rolls, etc. However, I do feel like there are some gaps that need to be filled in this game. Now, let me stop you there. I know what this sounds like. No, I am not trying to imply of adding a pretzel loop to a Gerstlauer Eurofighter. However, what I am saying is it's the little things, like, have you ever noticed how they added Copperhead Strike, the official train and track, to the game, and they have added the JoJo roll, but when you try to use the stock version of the mock multi-launch, there's no JoJo roll. So I feel that they should add specific elements to all the rides that of course would fit that category. So for example, if the official Copperhead Strike mock multi-launch roller coaster has the JoJo roll, I feel like the mock multi-launch standard within the game should also have the JoJo roll. Okay, think about this. Have you ever wanted to recreate Lightning Rod from Dollywood? Or Space Mountain Mission 2 from Paris? Well, you can't, because the two coaster types that are in the game that are pretty much close to what it is, an RMC for Lightning Rod, and Space Mountain Mission 2, which is a launched Vekoma looper, well, you can't do that because the looping coaster they have in the game has simply a lift hill. So does the RMC. It only has a lift hill. Now, of course, they've added to the game where you can change the coaster type, toy with the coaster track a little bit, but at that point, you're just ruining the illusion. I mean, you want to have a certain track with a certain train. So if you wanted to recreate, let's say, Rock and Roller Coaster, which is a launched coaster, but you can't do it with the Vekoma / Aero trains, well, you're kind of up a creek then. So that's just one of the things that I noticed that they need to add, which is give people variety. Give them the option to put a lift hill, but also give them the option to put a launch. Not saying that it has to be LSM, but it can be a simple hydraulic launch. It could be a pulley launch. That's what I really expected though too for the fake Schwarzkopf in the game. I expected to see some sort of a pulley system or something of that nature, but instead we get drive tires, which, okay, whatever, but there's just certain elements in the game that I feel like need to be added to fully immerse into the idea of being a roller coaster game. Of course, too, if you wanted to create the launches back in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, there was a speed hack that you could do on the chains. Well, there's no speed hack for Planet Coaster. By the way, if there is, go ahead and leave me a comment down below because I would very much like to know that myself. Just saying. Moving on to number 4. adding on / extending the Theme Maker's Toolkit. So this is just an idea that I've thought about ever since the Theme Maker Toolkit was released. But here's an idea. The Theme Maker Toolkit was released so that way content creators or anybody who makes custom assets can put custom assets in the game. Let that be a custom rock or a building or something of that nature. Well, what if they extended that to coaster cars and maybe even track? So imagine this, okay? You take the chassis of an already existing roller coaster in the game, and then you just build onto it. You can recreate Space Mountain in California's trains. You can recreate Lightning Rod's trains as much as possible. You can recreate the trains from whatever coaster you want, really. It's sort of similar to No Limits, where you can import custom assets to run custom trains on your track that you made. But I feel like if Planet Coaster did the same, I think a lot of people would jump on board, including enthusiasts as well. Coming in at number 3, fixing / reworking the track design and how it is done. Now, okay, don't get me wrong, Planet Coaster is very special in its own way. I'm not trying to say that all coaster simulators should be, the same. They have to be different, obviously. But when you're building a custom coaster instead of using somebody else's model, you get a lot of weird janks in the track that you just can't get out, or to the fact where it's not really helpful to the track, and when you're actually doing the on-ride POV, it just doesn't look smooth enough. Even when I'm trying to edit a corner and actually make a smooth transition to a bank, I always get some weird janks where it's just not smooth. Maybe possibly adding some advanced features to the game where you can actually build onto the smooth effect where before you really couldn't. And like I said, I'm not trying to turn Planet Coaster into No Limits because, let's be honest, the comparison between No Limits and Planet Coaster is trying to operate a Power Wheels Jeep, and No Limits is trying to operate the Space Shuttle. You see what I'm saying here? Coming in at number 2, we have add more train styles / more coaster types. So within Planet Coaster, we've gotten a total of 12 DLC packs, and oh my god, were they absolutely amazing. I remember waking up so early one morning for the Magnificent Ride Pack. Honestly, if it's a game like this, I personally do not mind spending money on this. They have added some real-life models to the game, like they've added the minecart tilting ride, which is similar to the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train at Disney World. They've added the Gerstlauer Infinity Train, which is similar to the Smiler over at Alton Towers. The problem came when they released the Ghostbusters update, because I felt like that came out of nowhere. That is the weirdest licensing I've ever seen, but whatever. And I really hope that that wasn't a sort of, okay, this is our last update, bye, because if they do that, the game's just gonna die. It's gonna eventually die out in a few years. Hey, remember Roller Coaster Tycoon 2? Oh man, that really brings back memories. I don't want Planet Coaster to be like that. I want that to be a striving video game. Now I understand that some people are getting sick and tired of the paid DLC, but for people like me, we don't care. Attention, Frontier Developments. If you somehow decide to find this video, it was shared to you somehow, you stumbled across it, I don't know how the hell you would find this video, but if you do, first off, hello, I love your game, please keep up the good work. Also, please add a RMC Raptor styled coaster. Now granted, we have the RMC T-Rex, which is the prototype model when RMC was kind of discussing it back in the day, but what needs to be added is the RMC Raptor, because the single rail track, it needs the single seated trains, not the big bulky ones, because it doesn't work. So please, if you can make that happen, I would be so grateful. Please. So I'm sure that other players have similar wants and needs to what they want for new roller coaster types or even for flat rides. The last DLC that we received, which was the Ghostbusters update, was last year, June 4th. It is now April 7th of 2020. I mean, we're closing in on almost a full year of no updates. I'm really hoping that the Ghostbusters update really wasn't a good closer. It kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. I really don't think that should be the note you end on. Now, if you do end up ending the game and you don't give us the tools required to maybe make our own coasters, like I said for number 4, then maybe some modders are out there who can make custom software for this game. kind of like people did for Open RTC. For those of you who didn't know, it's more of like a trainer for the game where you can import your custom rides. Now, do we need it for Planet Coaster? Yes, if Frontier has stopped development on Planet Coaster. Moving on, last but not least, we have number 1. Optimize the game. So, I know this may come to a bit of a surprise, but for those of you who actually played Planet Coaster, you know what I'm talking about. Every single time you log into the game, 60 FPS or more if you've uncapped it, and you're perfectly fine. The minute you start adding a crap ton of things in the game, your performance starts to lag out a little bit. Now, of course, if you actually want to, keep a good park going, you would need a NASA computer, right? Even in this case, no. There's been multiple subreddits and Steam discussions showing that they've had problems on a really god-tier PC. I mean, we're talking maybe a 2080 Ti, an i9 processor, 64 gigs of DDR4, and yet they're still experiencing the most laggy game ever. Now let me stop you right there as well. I know what you're thinking. I'm currently running a GTX 1080, an i7 processor, 8th generation by the way, 16 gigs of DDR4, and I'm running the game off of my SSD. So I'm pretty sure that it's not my system. I am 99% sure that it's not my rig. It's the game itself. No! No! Because I've played this game on 3 different computers of mine, all ranging in different levels of performance, and I've experienced the same thing. The only thing that's different is when I experience it. On my current rig, I'm being stuck to maybe a couple rides per park, or building a small carnival. That's what I'm stuck to. I can't really go big and make a big theme park, because the minute I do, my game starts lagging at me. I get maybe 50 frames per second. Sometimes it'll lag out and I'll get 40. If I'm lucky, at a big park, I'll get 30. Other than that, 20s and 30s, which is absolutely ridiculous. Now, if you put this much detail into the game, you would think that they would, optimize it, right? No, this game is so unoptimized for PC that I am praying that the console version doesn't experience this. Now, of course, I've tried uncapping the frame rate to go maybe like 100 or 200. That's great and all, but then I get really bad screen tearing. So with that being said, that is going to conclude today's video. Do you agree with the things that I've noticed in Planet Coaster that need to be added or fixed? Do you have any suggestions of your own? Hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know. I love hearing from you guys. So as a final note, I don't mean to sound like I'm attacking Frontier Developments in any way possible. I love this studio. I love the games that they produce. Planet Zoo was a bit of a stretch, but we'll ignore that. Planet Coaster is the real moneymaker here. Now, of course, I'm kind of biased by saying that because I'm a coaster enthusiast and I love theme parks. I love building them. I love creating them. I love the imagination of adding some music, adding some scenery. It's absolutely amazing. So yeah, with that, just remember, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.